I first saw this car when I was 12 years old. And when I came home to it, it was a beast, and it was implanted in my head, you know, just hearing this the V8, you know, and I see my brother, you know, punch helis in it on our road. So the car's been to hell and back. I've pretty much resurrected it. My name's Tim. I'm from Greystanes, New South Wales, and this is my 93 VP Commodore, and I grew up with cars my whole life. My dad had XYs, my uncle had XYs. My brothers always were into cars, building GTRs and Commodores and stuff, so it was only natural for me to follow in their footsteps, and I always wanted to build a car. I just didn't know I was going to build a car to this level, this extent. I chose this car because this was my very first car. I got it when I was 16. My brother used to own it before me. He'd done 257,000 Ks, and half of that was, you know, thrashed kilometres. I transformed it from what I remember it being, this stock VP 5 litre with fiberglass kit hanging off everywhere, you know, colour-coded, you know, panels that were mismatched and everything, and seeing it thrashed. And because I bought it from my brother, it's like, hey, watch what I can do with your old car. When I got the car, I had it for a year, and then I put it in Auto Salon. I had it there when I was 16 years old in Auto Salon in 2005. It wasn't like really like a showstopper or anything, it was basically stock, but I put bucket seats in it back then, and I thought that was cool. Seeing all the other cars, what they had and everything, and me being a teenager, I'm like, I had no chance with anything. So when I decided to build it, it took 8 years because I wanted to go right through so I could show, you know, the bay's done, the boot's done, you know, the trim's done and everything. I didn't want to be able to like have to hide things. So that's why I went all out with it. Originally, I just decided to pull the car off the road, smooth the bay out, put a cam in the engine, and that's it, done. And then it went backwards. I'm like, you know, the car deserves trim. And then I looked at it and I go, wait a minute, you know, it doesn't match now the bay and the trim. So I got the whole thing resprayed. And then I had the wheels already, the FR19s, but they didn't have any dish on them. So I pulled the rears off, got them dished. But the drop tank was scraping everywhere I went. So I said, you know, I need bags. Basically, everything that I'd done to the car then followed itself in terms of like modifying. Everything's custom on the car. So when it came time for the engine, I originally had a trumpet set up for it. You know, the trumpets stuck up sky high. They were huge. It was a restriction on the engine. So I said, all right, instead of going for looks, I'd rather go for something a bit more classy. So I spoke to Andrew at Bliss Custom Machining, and we organised the first full billet EFI tunnel ram for a 304 in Australia. The engine that we put in it, I didn't want to have, again, like a show pony sort of car without the balls to match. When people see the car and it's off, they think, oh yeah, it looks good, but what has it got? Then they hear it as well, like they just freak out because the sound it makes. It's got 14:1 comp in it, so it's got billet crank, cum alloy heads, full billet tunnel ram manifold on E85. The thing sounds off tap all the time. So with building the engine, obviously I had to have the box to match. So it's got a $5,000 stall in it, turbo 400, full manual valve body, custom 2-piece tail shaft, 31 spline billet axles. So the whole thing is built. It's pretty much a V8 supercar with street rego. Driveline was completely built to suit every single component. So the box is built to match the engine, and then the diff is built to match the box. So everything was built to handle the power that it's going to make. So it makes 600 plus horsepower at the crank. It's got bronze lifter bores in it, solid roller cam, big compression, big stall, combination for fun and lots of noise. The wheels are there, genuine Simmons FR19s. I bought them 2.5-inch dish all the way around. And then back in 2008, 4-inch dish was pretty massive, especially on a VN Commodore. So took the wheels off, got them stripped, got 4-inch outers. Being the build of the car, 4-inch is pretty much small these days, but the way they are on the car, they suit it perfectly. But I bought a brand new set of VZ Club Sport brakes for it, so I got front and rear done as well. The rears were a little bit harder to get the handbrake working. I took everything up to Penrith brake and clutch, so they made me up a custom rear rotor with the handbrake drum for a VN or VP Commodore with the outer part to suit the caliper. The paint is actually a factory colour, and the reason why I chose a factory colour is I like people coming up to me and asking, what colour is that car? You know, I know that colour, I can pick it off something. So the colour is actually off the 2005 Toyota Camry series. It's called Ice Blue Metallic. I've had more people tell me the car is silver than blue. The trim was a big part of the car because that's what pretty much made the car from being a street car, show car, to like having the two, you know, different images for what it is. I took the car down to Dave at Top End Interiors in Peakhurst, and we went all out with the trim. You know, we got 4 genuine Recaros out of an Evo Lancer. We stitched them up, we've got the wrinkles in them, and the wrinkles are done properly, you know, like they're nice and tight, they don't get flat. Yeah, we went for a shale colour of the trim. When it came time for the dash and choosing the gauges, I didn't want to have the traditional autometer gauges where you could see the dials and stuff just to look like every other car out there. So I chose the Autometer Cobalt digital gauges. They're black, and when the car's off, you don't see nothing. No numbers, no dials, nothing. I wanted them up the A-pillar because it's just different, you know, and as much as like I've got 5 gauges up the A-pillar and I've got 2 gauges inside, and I wasn't going to have 5 gauges on the bonnet with the bulge. It just looked out of place. The car would look unbalanced. I like the old school look of a drop tank, so I wanted a drop tank. So if I had a drop tank, what was I going to do with the boot? So I got the boot trimmed by Sergio at Northwest Customs, and he designed me up 2 15-inch subs, you know, in an enclosure. So there's literally no boot space at all. Forget about putting bread or milk in the back or anything, a stroller, nothing, because all that hollow space behind is all filled up. I got the airbag compressor there, everything's hidden. This thing gave me a million dramas. You know, there's teething issues. You know, some people have little teething issues. This thing's got continuous teething issues. Every time I touch it, there's something wrong with it, because it's just the combination of custom parts and, you know, the power it makes with the compression and, you know, the E85 and everything. Sometimes just a recipe for disaster. But thanks to E85 and the big compression, it sounds amazing, it goes hard. Yeah, you can't fault it. The best thing about the car that I love about it is when I do show it off, when I have taken it to, you know, the few shows it's been to, seeing people admire the car and appreciate it for what it is, and, you know, they pick up on the little details that you've done, like, you know, oh, look, the full billet ram, or, you know, that custom, you know, trim with the, you know, the pillars and for the gauges. It's crazy. I didn't say, all right, when I'm older, I'm going to build a VP Commodore. Because I've had this car for so long, it was a part of my life growing up. It was just natural for this car to be built.